I'm Maya Trabolsi. Tonight on KPBS Evening Edition, the verdict is in for former San Diego Mayor Bob Filner in a sexual harassment civil trial. Also tonight, the Chargers have finally revealed their vision for a new stadium. We'll look at what it will cost and who's paying, coming up. Frequent flyers know this: long lines at the airport can sour the start of your vacation.
It was chaos and panic, and missed one flight.
Why those lines aren't getting shorter anytime soon. And residents in San Diego's Mid-City area were expecting a new hip community hub. Instead, they're getting a school.
Neighbors should be excited, and they should be not only asking to come in, but demanding to be a part of who we are and what we do.
Find out how the alternative education complex will fit into the neighborhood. This is Evening Edition on KPBS. Good evening and thanks for joining us. A split verdict today in a lawsuit over alleged sexual battery by former San Diego Mayor Bob Filner. The jury cleared him of the sexual battery charge but found there was unwanted harassment against a female city employee during a festival at Mission Bay Park in 2013. The jury says Stacey McKenzie was harassed because she's a woman, but says the harassment was not severe or pervasive. So she wasn't awarded any damages. During the trial, Filner said he didn't remember the incident. He was not in court for the verdict. The San Diego Chargers have officially released their plans to finance a new stadium and convention center expansion downtown. KPBS Metro reporter Andrew Bowen says it's getting mixed reviews.
The team's plan mirrors what's already been widely reported in the media. The stadium portion would cost $1 billion, and 35% would come through public money from an increase in the city's hotel room tax. Here's Chargers spokesman Fred Moss in a video produced by the team.
We've honored the commitment the city had made to the NFL many months ago, where it'd be a third from the NFL, a third from the team, and a third from visitors. So, we think we've tried to honor the spirit of what was suggested about a year ago.
There are a lot of open questions about the design of the stadium and convention center annex. These are conceptual renderings drawn up by the real estate firm JMI. The team's plan already has critics. County Taxpayers Association board member April Bowling says the public is still on the hook for too much of the project.
We need to make sure that we have something that works for the Chargers, works for the fans, and also works for the taxpayers, and that the taxpayers aren't getting the short end of the stick when the owners have very little skin in the game.
Most elected officials say they're still evaluating the Chargers' proposal, which is 110 pages long. Mayor Kevin Faulconer says he'll be judging the plan based on whether the job protects San Diego jobs and taxpayers. Andrew Bowen, KPBS News.
The latest measurement of the Sierra Nevada snowpack shows improvement, but not enough to lift California out of drought. State water officials say the snowpack's at 95% of average. It is an improvement from the 85% reading taken earlier this month. The number will help water managers decide whether to ease conservation mandates. Experts stress that while the drought is not over, a healthy snowpack in Northern California will help ease drought effects.
Because this snow will melt, go into our reservoirs, and then be able to provide not only clean hydroelectric power to our customers, but a good flow for downstream users as well.
California gets about 1/3 of its water supply from the Sierra Nevada snowpack as it melts. A proposal to raise California's minimum wage passed its first hurdle in Sacramento today. It was approved by the Assembly's Appropriations Committee. The plan would raise the minimum wage over time, reaching $15 an hour by the year 2022. It would also allow for delays in those raises in case of another recession. Supporters say it would lift more than 2 million people out of poverty. But opponents say it could hurt California businesses. California's legislative analyst says the proposal could cost taxpayers an extra $3.6 billion a year. The money would go to higher pay for government employees. The report issued today did not look at impact on private employers. The full assembly is expected to hear the bill tomorrow. San Diego County health officials say a 9-year-old boy is one of the latest victims of this year's flu outbreak. He's the second local child to die from flu-related causes this year. There have been 56 flu deaths in the county this flu season. A San Diego family is asking an international organization to investigate a deadly incident at the San Ysidro port of entry. KPBS Fronteras reporter Jean Guerrero has the story.
It's been nearly 6 years since the Mexican national named Anastasio Hernandez Rojas died after he was repeatedly shot with a taser by Border Patrol agents and customs officials. The incident was caught on camera and went viral. His family is now asking the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights to investigate his death to see if his human rights were violated. They say they want the U.S. government to be held accountable. Hernandez's brother, Bernardo, was in Washington, D.C. today with a media crew for the filing of the petition. He says he hopes it will result in policy changes, such as requiring body-worn cameras for all agents within U.S. Customs and Border Protection.
It's a step forward, so the Border Patrol will stop doing this, and other families won't have to go through what ours did, which hurts very much.
Last year, the Department of Justice declined to prosecute, citing insufficient evidence.
We are at the Inter-American Commission because we have exhausted all domestic remedies.
The Commission will decide whether or not to take on the petition in the coming months. Immigration activists say Hernandez is one of 50 people who have been killed by border agents in recent years. Jean Guerrero, KPBS News.
The Union for Border Patrol Agents is endorsing Donald Trump for president. It's the first time the union has endorsed anyone during primary season. Union officials say no other candidate has highlighted the border the way Trump has.
We need a president who is going to take border security seriously and reestablish border security and immigration enforcement in this country.
Moran's comments are a direct contrast to statements by Border Patrol Commissioner Gil Kurlikowski. Earlier this month, he told KPBS that he's opposed to Trump's proposal for a border wall.
Anyone who's familiar with the southwest border and looks at the range of mountains, rivers, desert, would clearly see that an attempt to build a wall would be very, very difficult, incredibly expensive. We have 600 miles of fencing of different types now. It is very expensive to maintain that fencing.
The union, in turn, is rejecting Kurlikowski's comments. The San Diego's District Attorney's Office has a new task force dedicated to making certain the wrongfully convicted are exonerated. Many counties have similar task forces, but KPBS video journalist Matt Bowler says San Diego's task force will be communicating directly with those claiming innocence.
I mean, first imagine the idea of being in prison and wrongfully convicted. It's a surrealistic nightmare.
Justin Burks from the California Western School of Law Innocence Project is dedicated to getting innocent people out of prison. But Burks says so is District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis.
I've said many times that San Diego could be a model of a criminal justice system for the rest of the country. We have a chief of police who's open to change. We have a great public defender's office, and we have a great district attorney's office.
As prosecutors, our legal, moral, and ethical obligation is to ensure that the right person is convicted for the crime charged.
To that end, Dumanis announced the creation of a conviction review unit. It isn't a new idea, but the way people can request for a conviction review is.
What is new, though, is the ability of the public to have improved and unprecedented communication directly with our office on claims of innocence.
If someone would like to have their conviction reviewed, all they would have to do is apply via email or fax. To qualify, the conviction must have been in San Diego Superior Court. The applicant must still be in custody. At this time, it's open to serious felonies like rape and murder. There must be credible and verifiable evidence of innocence, and the applicant has to agree to fully cooperate with the DA's office during the conviction review. The DA's office says the criteria is not set in stone because
no one benefits when an innocent person is in prison.
Matt Bowler, KPBS News.
Cal State University faculty members rallied for more pay outside of the Capitol building today. They want a 5% raise and say they'll strike if they don't get it.
Our salaries are not really a living wage, and so we would like to get into the middle class if we could.
Every year we give the CSU $3 billion or so. There's money in the budget for the 2%. The faculty want a 5% increase. The difference is about $30 million. You know, we think there's probably money in that $3 billion budget they already get to find the other $30 million. But in addition, we're going to do a revised budget in May. Hopefully, if the tax revenues come in, there'll be even more money for the CSU to make it even an easier decision.
CSU faculty has threatened to strike on April 13th if their demands are not met. Forbes magazine lists UC San Diego 5th in the U.S. for colleges that provide the best value. UC Berkeley came in first, followed by Brigham Young University. Most of the schools on the list are on the West Coast, are public, and have a focus in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. UCSD outranked MIT and Harvard. It was the only San Diego school on the magazine's top 50 list. San Diego County is expecting to put an extra $300 million in its coffers this year due to an increase in the amount of property taxes expected to come in. The county sent out more than 980,000 bills in September for more than $5.3 billion. Dan McAllister, the county tax collector, says that's about $300 million more than last fiscal year.
There were 2,269 additional bills issued this year, which is yet another good sign that our economy is starting to pick up.
McAllister says property tax revenue is not back up to pre-recession levels, but it's getting close. He also reminds property owners to pay their property tax bills by April 11th to avoid late charges. As summer travel season approaches, airlines are warning passengers that long airport security lines will likely only grow longer. Kelly Daschle of the Associated Press reports the TSA needs more flyers to enroll in its trusted traveler program called PreCheck.
The dreaded airport security line. At airports around the nation, these lines are getting longer, leading to missed flights and frustrated passengers.
Oh my gosh, it was about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. Everybody was running through the airports. It was chaos and panic, and missed one flight.
But the waits are expected to get worse. This summer, flyers will likely face massive security lines at airports across the country, prompting airlines to warn passengers to arrive at least 2 hours early or risk missing their flights.
It's been off to a rough start here in the springtime with TSA's lines and airports' growth. But we are collectively working together to figure out what we're going to do before summer hits.
A combination of factors is causing the delays. Among the chief reasons, the Transportation Security Administration's failure to enroll enough people in its expedited screening program called PreCheck. Only 9.3 million flyers have enrolled, just a fraction of the 25 million people the TSA had hoped it would have signed up by now. But based on the promise of PreCheck, Congress cut more than 4,600 TSA screeners, nearly 10% of the workforce. Now the TSA is scrambling.
So I'm convinced that we can improve the process, we can improve efficiency, we can still meet our effectiveness targets, and we can improve the passenger experience.
The TSA is shifting some resources to tackle lines at the nation's biggest airports, including using dogs to sniff bags and help lines move faster. Still, with more flyers and fewer security screeners, there's no easy solution on the horizon. Kelly Daschle, Associated Press.
Nationwide, about 26% of airline passengers were registered for TSA PreCheck last month. San Diego's rate was a bit lower than average, just over 23%. John Wayne Airport in Orange County had the highest PreCheck rate at the major airports in Southern California, and the lowest was at Ontario Airport. Last night, we showed you some of the snow up in Northern California. Well, here's a look at the mountains closer to home. The ski resorts up in Big Bear say they got about 4 to 6 inches yesterday, and they're expecting more snow. KPBS weather reporter Steph Davis has our forecast.
Well, we've been dealing with a bit of unsettled weather across much of the west and the southwest today. Looking at our regional satellite and radar, you'll notice these scattered showers, rumbles of thunder, even some scattered snow showers in the higher elevations. Taking a closer look around home, we do have pockets of clouds and wet weather rolling through, some late rain across the area, and still the risk for a thunderstorm or two possible as we head throughout the evening hours. And that will be the case tonight in Borrego Springs. Can't rule out a shower or thunderstorm firing up. Same deal in Ramona, Oceanside, and San Diego. But the good news is once we get towards the nighttime hours, we'll lose the bulk of that unsettled weather, so we'll dry things out and quiet conditions will return. Mount Laguna could even catch some light snowfall as temperatures back to the 20s are cold enough to facilitate some wintry weather. Looking ahead to tomorrow, we'll kind of return to normal here, dry and warmer across much of California, and those showers and thunderstorms will continue to dissipate. So if we can get through a bit of wet weather for your Wednesday night, Thursday shaping up to be a pretty nice one across much of the area. Here's a look at your 5-day outlook for the coast. Partly sunny and dry Thursday with a high of 64. Clouds, then sunshine for your Friday. Clouds breaking for sunshine on Saturday as well. Partly sunny and 70 on Sunday, and a nice day to look forward to along the coast for your Monday. 5-day outlook inland, partly sunny Thursday, high 66. Low clouds breaking for sunshine on Friday. Clouds break for sun on Saturday with a high of 70 degrees, and then partly sunny and nice Sunday, and temperatures Monday remain in the low 70s. Your 5-day outlook for the mountains. Mix of clouds and sun Thursday. Your daytime high is 54 degrees. Abundant sunshine to wrap up the work and school week Friday with highs near 60. Temperatures really climb in the mountains for the weekend. We'll jump to the upper 60s Saturday and Sunday. Mostly sunny skies for your Monday with a high of 67 degrees. Wrapping things up with your 5-day outlook for the deserts. Sunny and warmer Thursday. Highs around 80. Breaking to the mid-80s on Friday, and it is warm for the weekend, right around 90 degrees Saturday and Sunday. Warm with sunshine Monday. Your high in the desert, 92 degrees. Steph Davis, KPBS News.
And Steph's forecast missed just one thing: thunder and lightning at SeaWorld. No, we're not talking about weather. These are the names of 2 endangered olive ridley turtles who just arrived at SeaWorld today to continue their rehabilitation. Thunder and lightning were found comatose after 2 big winter storms on the Oregon coast in December. They're being treated at SeaWorld's Animal Rescue Center with the goal of eventually returning to the ocean.
The next news hour, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright and former National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley on the state of the Middle East. That's Wednesday on the PBS NewsHour.
The postseason is over for San Diego State's men's basketball team. The Aztecs lost to George Washington University last night in the semifinals of the National Invitation Tournament. The final score was 65-46. A longtime business that sells religious goods in San Diego's Mid-City area was set to be developed into a community hub for young homeowners and artisans. Instead, the County Office of Education signed the lease. KPBS reporter Megan Burks looks at what this new direction means for the neighborhood and the future of education in San Diego.
So you come up, you order your food, and then you can go sit down, and they have like a bocce court.
Stacy Spector and her team are sketching out plans for an outdoor eatery on the border of Normal Heights and City Heights. Think Crack Shack, a trendy fried chicken restaurant that hatched in Little Italy last November. Patrons order at a window, then find seating on an elaborate patio, complete with a bocce ball court. But Spector isn't San Diego's next celebrity chef. She heads juvenile court and community schools for the County Office of Education. And her restaurant, well, it isn't hers at all.
If it's the students' restaurant and it's a part of the community, then it's their responsibility to not only run the business, but to procure the food, know how much, produce and product to procure, to monitor that, what's waste, what's overage.
Students will run the restaurant. It's part of an educational complex replacing an old car dealership and church goods store on El Cajon Boulevard near Interstate 15. Its unveiling this fall will mark a grand reopening of sorts for the county's alternative schools. Those campuses serve students who are homeless, involved in the criminal justice system, or otherwise benefit from being in a non-traditional school setting. For the past few years, Spector and her team have been traveling to innovative schools in Boston and Palo Alto to take notes. Their takeaway: create a flexible space that allows creative problem solving.
Traditionally, when schools are built, the school is built, and then the type of learning is then determined and fit into that box. And schooling is, what adults say learning should be. This is an opportunity for us to have a space that is right now an empty shell.
So instead of sitting in rows of desks, the students might build modular furniture they can rearrange based on the task at hand. They might skip the classroom altogether and apprentice with a local coffee roaster. And those metalworking machines that have long funneled students into union jobs at NASCO's shipbuilding business on the Bay, they'll be at the school, probably next to a 3D printer. But first, the rosaries and other merchandise have to go. The space gutted.
I don't know if you've seen this space. Look up into the ceiling.
Look up, Richard.
Back here. You see that?
This is the boat ceiling.
Yeah, so they call this the barrel room.
So that's going to be beautiful.
This is going to be our performance and event space.
A half-round ceiling made of wood peeks out from the drop ceiling. Decades of peeling paint will have to be sandblasted away. Like the building, the surrounding neighborhood is a diamond in the rough and getting shinier every day. When development firm JCG bought the building last year, it planned to bring a trendy coffee shop, event space, and maker studios to the area. Neighbors hope JCG could do here what it did on the other end of El Cajon Boulevard. Many credit the group's revitalization of the Lafayette Hotel with spurring a renaissance along the boulevard. So when neighbors discovered the County Office of Education signed a 10-year lease with JCG to house one of its alternative schools, some weren't too excited. JCG's David Awashja says the tenant may have changed, but the concept hasn't.
The vision that we originally created for 37 ECB is staying intact. And we've been having a lot of fun because now we have a long-term partner to really help us bring that vision to fruition.
Spector says she wants the space to become the community hub neighbors wanted.
They should not be worried about juvenile delinquents. Neighbors should be excited, and they should be not only asking to come in, but demanding to be a part of who we are and what we do. These are students and families who want no different than any other family and any other student. I want to be able to learn. I want to be able to explore my ideas.
And Spector is betting the ideas students hatch here will enrich their lives and the neighborhoods where they live and work for years to come. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
And video journalist Brian Myers from the Media Arts Center helped produce that report. For 25 years, Mama's Kitchen has been delivering meals to people who are too sick to cook on their own. Volunteers hand deliver them for free 7 days a week. Today was no different, except for the number. KPBS video journalist Katie Shulov was there as County Supervisor Ron Roberts made the delivery.
Enjoy that.
Yes. Thank you very much.
This is no ordinary delivery to the home of Alan Kohler and his partner. It's the 8 millionth meal that Mama's Kitchen has delivered in San Diego County.
Banana, pear, apples, tangerines.
It's nutritious foods like these.
Frozen milk, yogurt, eggs.
And the hot meal he's holding that Kohler hasn't been able to cook for himself since he was diagnosed with HIV in 1981. His partner of 21 years, Dave Jones, is also HIV positive. So about 10 years ago, Mama's Kitchen stepped in. The food is packaged and delivered almost entirely by volunteers. 8 million meals in the 25 years since they opened.
In those years, we have probably traveled somewhere close to 3 million miles to deliver food and have made a difference in the lives of tens of thousands of individuals that might have otherwise suffered from malnutrition.
Individuals like Kohler and Jones.
I don't know if I'd still be here, personally. It just takes a lot of energy to put food together to eat. So for me personally, I really feel if Mama's Kitchen wasn't here, I wouldn't eat a lot of the time.
Katie Shulov, KPBS News.
Yeah.
And let's recap tonight's top stories. A split verdict today in a lawsuit over alleged sexual battery by former San Diego Mayor Bob Filner. The jury cleared him of the sexual battery charge, but found that he was unwanted harassment against a female city employee during a festival at Mission Bay Park in 2013. The jury says Stacey McKenzie was harassed because she's a woman, but says the harassment was not severe or pervasive, so she wasn't awarded any damages. And the San Diego Chargers have officially released their plans to finance a new stadium and convention center expansion downtown. These are the most recent concept renderings. The stadium portion would cost $1 billion, and 35% would come from public money through an increase in the city's hotel room tax. Opponents say the public is still liable for too much of the project's direct and indirect costs. Mayor Kevin Faulconer says he's evaluating the team's plan. And state water surveyors found a nearly average snowpack in the Sierra Nevada today, 95% of normal. The measurement sets the stage for tough decisions on water conservation requirements for California residents. The state's water managers have to decide whether to ease or drop the current mandates. You can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for joining us. From all of us here at KPBS, thanks for watching and have a great evening.